What's up? So I haven't journaled in a couple days. Um, I don't really have anything to say, so why waste my time? But there's a couple things I have noticed or learned. So why not share? And we'll see if it's worth posting or not. Um, First, I became an uncle. I don't know why people congratulate me. I had nothing to do with it, but that's pretty interesting. Um, that's new. Um, I had a friend. I have a friend who's, I would say, he's not conscious. He's not on the path. But every time I see him, I try to share the things that I've learned. You know, when you learn something, if you get out of a tight spot and know how to get out of that, you should share that with as many people as you can. And I try. Not everybody wants to hear what you have to say. Not everyone's buying what you're selling. But I also don't like. I watch like a lot of stuff online, and everyone who's trying to help you wants your money. There's always some gimmick tied to it, and it always puts a bad taste in my mouth. I very much dislike that. I think people need help. You should help because it's the human thing to do, not because there's a financial incentive. As soon as there's a financial incentive, it fucks up the whole. It's like you don't trust the information now. Like my friend um, was telling me that in order to just not be specific, someone they know went to like a tarot card reader, and then they said the stuff, and it sounded kind of accurate, and then they said, "Oh, someone's sending you bad energy, and for extra money, I can clear it." It's like the fuck is this? Um, and that's why this, like the spiritual community, is all grifters, just like the religious people. It's like eat this cracker, drink this fucking grape juice, and then everything's fine. It doesn't like. What are we doing? What are we doing? You got to think at some point. You got to like use your brain. You have it for a reason. So that's all. Most of your problems come from there, anyways. So my friend, I believe, from my perspective, I've been through what he's going through. I've been at his stage before. Of course, I feel um, like I don't have every answer. But if I have an answer, I try to help. Like I have another friend who's really depressed and also very opinionated. He's like, well, that's how you got here. Like maybe bend a little bit. Um, Usually people don't want to hear from you until you got to hit rock bottom or something. Someone hits rock bottom, then they'll listen. It doesn't matter how much they're struggling until the pain of remaining the same is worse than the pain of change. Nothing happens. So I have like, not that I'm fucking anybody, but I have the desire to help people, and I have gone on my own spiritual journey, and I have learned a lot. And maybe I'm wrong about lots of stuff, you know, but when you walk through something, like, like the 4 minute mile was impossible, then the one guy did it, and then everybody started doing it. Like, once you know someone got through it, it's easier now for you. So when I look at this friend, I can see what he's doing wrong. And like, not that anyone has to listen, but it's like, what are you doing right? What are you doing wrong? Have you thought of doing this? Have you thought of doing that? And I convinced him to stop smoking weed and vapes. It was like, you're leaking your energy. That's what I've learned. You don't have to listen to me. It's up to you. So um, he's in the process. He's like a few days in, and we went to a comedy show the other night, and afterwards, uh, we were talking about relationships. I don't think he's where I am. I see him. Well, not that I'm again. I'm not. I'm not anybody. But um, there are women who have expressed interest in me, and I could see where they're at in their journey, and it's just based on the last Anima and Animus things. Like, once you have the knowledge of, it's like, oh, you're very far away from us even being able to have a conversation. Um, I don't mind having friends, of course, but um, as I was describing the Anima and Animus, he was kind of like looking at me like, what the fuck? And then I was like, I just journaled about this. We can watch the video. And everyone who watches, other than this one video that randomly shows up that fucking has 10 times the views of any of my other shit, um, it's the first time a guy has watched my stuff. Because everybody I know that it's a feminine trait, spirituality. Everyone who's trying to improve themselves is a woman. That's I don't know why that is. I know a couple guys who are trying, but not enough that they would be interested in that topic or a lot of the stuff, frankly. So we sat here and watched the Anima and Animus, and he had a question, and then like he was so captivated by the information that he stopped himself and waited till I was done in the video talking to ask his follow up. And then when he heard like the stages, he was like, I'm in stage 2. It clicked for him that this is just a normal. And I explained, like, as you grow, you eventually get to the next phase. You'll go to stage 3, even if you're resistant to it. You'll eventually age out of it, or you decide to settle, or whatever the fuck it is. And then, this specific information was information he needed. And it opened the door to how he's doing things wrong in his spiritual life and in his business, which is also what I try to speak into. So, again, not that I know anything, but it doesn't hurt to listen. So, after watching the Anima and Animus video, it also put into perspective his own trauma. Like I'm trying to be vague, but his mom left the family to leave stage 3 to go to stage 4. And you'll see a lot of women that gave up their dreams or raised someone else's kids, or, like that story. It's common for them to, like, it's just, this is a psychological, spiritual video game we're playing. And if you don't know what everybody else is doing, you don't know what the fuck you're supposed to do. So you can arm yourself with knowledge. Then you don't take things personally. Like, his mom had to go on this journey. It's not your fault. Nothing you could have done. Nothing your father could have done. She didn't do the journey before she got married. So she has to. You have a soul. Jung's greatest regret was not convincing people of the fact that they have a soul. When you live like you don't have one, your soul dies, slowly but surely. But you can't get rid of it. Energy can't be created or destroyed. You're silencing it, and then eventually it will come out. And when it comes out, it fucking wreaks havoc on your life, on your partner's life, on your family's life. It will be a mess. So, from my personal experience, from my observation, from the knowledge I've gained, you don't have to listen to me, but that's what I see time and time again. So I'm not that old, but I've been fucking watching people my whole life. I was the quiet kid in the corner. I've been observing people and their behavior the whole time. I learned how to look like you, but I'm not like you. Um, I have the tism. So I talked to him about. Um, I don't want to give specific, like in case someone figures out who he is. I don't want to give away what's going on with him specifically. But energetically, I feel like he's lost some confidence that maybe he had when he was younger. He hasn't solved something psychologically, spiritually. Those two things are intertwined. Um, like he has work to do. That's what I see his work is. That's where his phase is. So if you're unsure of yourself, that's going to bleed into every aspect of your life. But things have happened to him that I know about. Things happen to everybody that turn us. What we are is what we've been able to let go of. So if you haven't let go of anything, you're the sum of your parts, you're the sum of your experiences. So if you know the experiences, you could tell who the person is. So big heart, soft hearted guy, can't seem to catch a break. Now we had a mutual friend growing up, and the mutual friend had, uh, for lack of a better word, shitty parents. The shitty parents gave this friend everything he wanted. They never said no. He was never punished. He would have like a panic attack and they would feel sorry for him. So he never got any type of, he never had to pay for his mistakes. Parents always bailed him out. So, like in high school, he drove the coolest car. Like, if personal story, growing up, I had 7 of these cars eventually, but my favorite car in the world, E36 M3. I was like, I need an E36 M3, Estoril blue. It's like that was the color. So I was friends with this guy since I was a baby, basically not a baby. I'm older, but since we were kids. And I remember calling him, and I was like, you know what the best car in the world is? He's like, what? I was like, an E36 M3 Estoril blue. He's like, I think my brother has one of those. I was like, fuck you. Your brother does. You would know. Your brother doesn't have the coolest car ever made. Fuck off, idiot. And then he's like, no, next time you come over, I'll show you. And he took me in the garage, and I was fucking. My body was on fire. I was so jealous. I've never been more jealous in my life. I just wanted to sit. I wanted to sleep. Can we sleep in the garage next to it? Like it's glowing. I was so in love with his car. I was so jealous that he got to see it. And then eventually that became his car. He went to high school in it. So like who the fuck gets that in high school? Now, I mean, different rules. You have kids in high school having Huracans, but back in my day, that wasn't normal. So my dad said if I did good in school, he would have got me one. But I'm glad I didn't go to get. I didn't. I'm glad I didn't go to school. I'm glad I didn't do well in school because I have cooler shit. Fuck you. Um, you peak in high school. I mean, there's only one way to go. Um, all right, so that was an aside. Personal story. Is that relatable? Now, uh, as we grew up, um, this friend became very narcissistic. So he had to we played video games, and we were very competitive. And then at sometimes, like, uh, we used to play Halo, and it would get so competitive. We played Capture the Flag Halo, like one round. You capture the flag 3 times. It would take like 4 hours. Like we were so good that it took 4 hours to finish. And after 4 hours of like being at war, like super focused, if you lost to him, he'd walk in and clap like you're so good at this game and you want to fucking kill him. So the friend group eventually broke up because you can't have this type of tension. We eventually everybody hated each other. Um, girls got mixed in there as well. Uh, I won't be specific there, but um, the competitiveness didn't stop at video games. Is my point. So uh, that friend, kind of everybody kind of like if you're just a dick to everybody, eventually you push everybody away. And these two stayed friends longer, so they were hanging out more, and the friend with the M3 or whatever, the narcissist, his his parents were giving him an allowance that was too much to give to a kid, to a teenager, to an early 20s even. Um, so he would pay people to take his test for him, to do things for him, whatever, and eventually got into gambling, lost a bunch of money. Like I think at one point he owed like he had 40 grand in debt or something. It's like he had student loan debt in high school, or shortly thereafter. I don't remember, but he was just, like parents kept bailing him out. They're like, oh, he learned his lesson. Um, but he held his social status and his money over people, and he used it also to entice women. I have an elevator in my house. Let's go to the jacuzzi. So there was this jealousy and competitiveness and whatever, and it kind of stuck with my friend, like the trauma that this narcissistic guy went after his girlfriends. So there's a trauma there. Now everybody has lost touch. It's been years, whatever. Water under the bridge, you know. We're all kids. We fuck up. Um, they run into each other at a party, and at this party, my friend says like, "Hey," he sits down with the narcissistic guy and says, "Hey, like, how you doing? Long time no see. What's new?" And the narcissistic guy basically said, like, "I'm a loser. Like, I didn't do anything with my life, and it's like, I don't know what to do." Um, and he was kind of sitting alone on the couch. And my friend walked away from that conversation when he told me that about it. He's like, I thought to myself, good, that's what you get. And my response was, that's normal to have that feeling, but don't sit in it. That's a normal human reaction, but don't sit in it because you're making this, you're it's doing the same thing he did to you. You got to show him that you're better, right? And I said that to him, but he also isn't the type to hold a grudge. He's got a big heart. So eventually felt guilty for thinking that. And he told me for 3 months afterwards, he had shitty business. His business wasn't performing. And then he's like, this is my karma. The universe is punishing me because I said this and I felt this. And I was like, okay, hold on. Karma is a thing. I'm glad you know about it. The universe does correct. But the punishment has to fit the crime. What's happening is the universe isn't punishing you. You are punishing you. Wayne Dyer says this thing about he's dead. It's not the snake bite that kills you. It's the poison circulating your veins. And it was like, it's a shitty analogy because the fucking poison's in there anyways. Your blood's pumping. But he's saying the thoughts that you have about it are the poison. The event itself isn't what kills you. It's you constantly feeding these thoughts into your head. So I'm like, energetically, you are fucking up your energy, and you can't attract this. This universe works law of attraction. Like, what goes on in here, as above, so below, as within, so without. Like your mental status will deliver you the world that you believe you deserve. So, in a way, you are God. So God is punishing you, but you're punishing yourself. So read this book. And I gave him my copy of The World is a Mirror by whoever the fuck. And he read it in one day. and he said a couple times while he read the book, he said wow out loud, and he said you have to show everybody this. And it's like, no, how, it's like The Secret, it's like Neville Goddard, it's like Abraham Hicks, it's like fucking Joe Fuck Dispenza. I hate mentioning his name. It's like fucking, who else? I mean, there's so many of these think it, believe it. Wayne Dyer, think it, believe it reality people. It's packaged in so many ways, but this has been the case throughout human history. They talk about it it's talked about in the Bible. It's talked about in books that predate the Bible. Hermetic philosophy is older than any religion on earth. So the idea, it's the first Hermetic principle, all is mind. So it's all, you're creating reality. What reality are you creating? I should be punished because I'm a bad person. You're going to get punished. I don't deserve love. What do you think is going to happen? I'm too much to handle. I'm not good enough. That thought is poison circulating in your veins, and you'll create that reality for yourself. Now, I talked about, like, a week ago, I went to Mexico with my friends, and I was talking to a girl who reminded me of someone, and she was saying she's never had a serious boyfriend. She was saying that she doesn't look good enough, and she's not this or she's not that. And if you don't if you don't love yourself, no one else will. If you don't value yourself, no one else can. They might want to, but you won't accept it. You won't believe that it's genuine. You won't believe that it's real. And then you keep looking externally to feel this thing that it's you cut it out of yourself, and then you're expecting someone to match. Like, it doesn't work. So not that I'm I'm not fucking, I'm not selling a book. I don't have an online course. There's nothing, I don't need anything from anybody. I do financially well on my own. But when I think about why did God put me here? Like, the fact that I say the word God without sarcasm. I usually cringe when people say God. It's like, ugh. The universe has there is a force that is moving things and planning things, for sure. I don't know what you call it. I call it God. If you cannot see that is taking place, you are blind. There are too many coincidences, and in this universe, there's no such thing as a coincidence. The Kybalion says chance is a name for a law not recognized. Everything is moving according to some law. You're just unaware of it. So consciousness is awareness. The more conscious you are, the more aware you are. So it's not that I have knowledge that other people can't attain. It's not that I'm the smartest person who ever lived, but I have sought the answers to why is this happening enough that I have something to share. I have something that could be useful. And I firmly believe all knowledge, all human knowledge, should be free and easily accessible, especially with the technology we have today. There's no reason in any planet education should cost money. We need all the smart people. We need to be building as many smart people as we can, because look what the fuck we're dealing with. Why the fuck is information privileged? Go into debt for information. The more you want to learn, please keep learning. Help us out of this. Fuck me. It's such a strange. It's not even people who invented the shit who teach it. What the fuck are we doing here? So without like, you know, I'm never gonna. I can't imagine being on a podcast. I can't imagine selling a book or standing in front of people and be like, "This is how it works," and blah blah blah. It's like talking to myself here. If you're eavesdropping, fucking good for you. If you learn something, you don't have to tell me about it. I don't need anything. But in the case of this friend, um, and the girl that I talked to last week, um, there are words that came out of my mouth that might change their life. Is that not more important than buying a fucking watch? I was watching a video and it stopped on 144. Totally an accident. So, um, on that same topic, there was a friend I was talking to a month or two ago, and he said this has been the worst year of his business. Just nothing's working. And I was saying, well, I know it's a down year. The economy's supposed to be bad, but this has been my best year. And the only thing I've done is improve myself spiritually, whatever that means. Work on myself, stop making mistakes, um, be an honorable person. My best, at least. My fucking best. I still cuss. But um, we talked. He's got a family now, and he's feeling a lot of pressure. It's like I have money in the bank, but like I need cash flow to sleep at night. I was like, okay, are you doing this? Are you drinking? Are you going out? Are you like cheat on your wife? Like just like taking inventory. No, 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 no. But he was like, but I do masturbate. I was like, aha, where's the spoon? So um, I told him about like not that I know anything. It's like what I read and what I understand, and as I became spiritual, I noticed like this is your spiritual power. A man's ability to create in the world comes from his sexual energy. I heard a famous island rapist used to have business calls. He'd have these women massage him, and he'd like basically before orgasm have the business call, and then he would get the thing. That's interesting. But he wouldn't come. Maybe after the call he came. I wasn't there. I don't know how I heard that, but I actually have no idea how I heard that. But okay, from my experience, um, and reading about brahmacharya as the tradition, semen retention, is that instead of impregnating a woman, you impregnate the world with your will. This is your ability to manifest. And then people talk about your, if you don't waste your seed, it wakes your kundalini, and fucking once every month, I don't know, there's this idea that there is some biological process that renews your brain, increases your awareness, increases your consciousness. I don't fucking know, but it's in books. I didn't invent that. I didn't come up with it. It's in books. It's in the Biblia. Um, it's a weird way to say the Bible. Uh, I think even Jim Carrey talked about it on Norm Macdonald's show. Talked about like this juice, this oil coming down your claustrum, and that's Santa coming down the chimney and leaving presents for good boys and girls and coal for naughty ones. People veloce, naughty ones. So I told my friend, you don't have to listen to me. This is what I tried. This is what I learned. I know it's a bad economy. I know blah blah blah. Like the crypto guys don't have money. The stock people aren't spending money. Um, but somehow I'm doing all right. Like there must be something to it, you know. And I checked on him yesterday. I was like, hey, just checking in. How are you doing? He said he just had his best month of the year. You know? Weird. Weird that everybody improves after interacting with me. Weird. So the thing is that obviously, like you can see by my post history, I still don't have everything figured out. But it's like if I've been through something and if I learn something, it's I'm a human being. I just have to share it. I have to tell you. It's up to you if you want to listen or not. There's plenty of people who hear me but don't listen. They're not ready or whatever the fuck. But what's the harm in trying? What's the worst that can happen? So um, that was another example. And then I don't know how this popped in my head yesterday. I texted a friend of mine and I said, is there anything I can do to help you out in life? And his response was, how did you know I'm going through something? I don't fucking know. Um, and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, my roommate moved out, so now I'm paying double rent. I'm not sure if I can keep up with it. Um, I was just talking to my girl and all this stuff, and I was like, I was listening to his problems, and I was like, if God waited for us to be ready, we'd never be ready. So when God changes your environment, it's to force you to grow. And he knows more than we do. So you're fucking ready. I promise you everything will be fine. But in the meantime, I think I can help. I was like, why don't we get together once a week and make content? So I've kind of been phoning in my career. Um, I just have myself to support, and I make plenty of money, so I haven't really like. And I also just I don't want to fake a personality on the internet. I don't have social media. Like I don't want to market. Marketing is not my thing. I don't want to have a personality. I don't want people saying hi to me in public. I really don't want it. And I've isolated myself and been really cautious with who I even allow near me, frankly. But maybe it's time. Maybe there's a reason. This I don't know what the fuck my walls keep cracking, but it's bothering me. Um, maybe the reason I'm here is to help him in this way, and vice versa. Like if I realized that if this entire last year since I started journaling, if I was creating content for my business, where would I be? But I suppose I know that in here. I just was like, what do I need it for? Who fucking cares? It's just money. Who cares? Um, rather journal. I don't want to. I don't, like thinking about it, talking in front of a camera. "Oh, this is what I do. I'm the best. Fuck. I hate that it's a digital world. Give me the phone book. Give me the old stuff. Um, all right. So those are those things. I talked about becoming an uncle, but they're brand new. You know what I mean? I don't know them. I don't know if they're cool. Um, it's very weird. Very weird looking. It's like this is new family. When was the last time that happened? New family. Just people keep falling off the end. But it's been a long time since there's been new. Um, Seeing how stressful it is, I'm like, I wonder if I am ready for this. Like I suppose I've made this space in my life to be a good husband and father to people that don't exist yet. But yeah, I think that perhaps I should do a little bit more work now to ensure that the future is stable. Um, I still had an okay month in October. I'm very dramatic. Um, it's still a great year, but great year meaning is the best year I've ever had. I'm being humble, but is my life any different if I make double? I don't know. I don't care. Just looking at money on a screen. It's like I have enough to eat. I have enough to fuck around with my cars. I have enough to go to work. I don't know what else. What do you want? Um, and when I first started making money, I started spending it like the kid from Blank Check. I was really irresponsible, and as irresponsible as I could be, my my savings still was going up, and I lost all. I was like, this is just toy money. It's like Monopoly money. It's like this never meant anything. Why was I so worried about this? And a lot of very wealthy people lose their money and then have to start over. That separates the people who are lucky from the people who have it. So I had to start over, and like no matter what happens in life, I'll always make it. I just whatever I do, I'm going to be good at. Not good. I'm going to try to be the best. Um, because if anything I do, I try to be the best. Like I don't want to start a new hobby because then I know I have to fucking do it. Like when I have friends that ask me to go to the racetrack and stuff, I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to fuck my car up, and I don't want to be obsessed with this fucking thing. It's expensive and it takes time, and then I do you know how much I have to do it to be fucking satisfied with my performance? We went to go kart racing, and you'd think with my job I'd be so down, and I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to fucking do it. It's like you think I want to sit here and fucking think about what I did wrong each lap so that I could fuck you up, and then of course I won anyways. I won every fucking time, but it was stressful. Is my point. I haven't been back since. Um, what am I talking about? Oh, something else I learned. This is a life hack. I read it online on a Carl Jung like discussion board. Your self-destructive tendencies in a relationship are your inner anima or animus. You should look at it like it's a separate entity. It is part of you, but it is not you. The relationships you enter are because this anima has something it needs to learn. Pretend there's a higher self guiding you. And you will have a certain magnetic pull to a person, because there's a lesson there. Because your anima can project itself onto that and you can see what's happening inside. And then the anima or animus tries to protect itself. That's the self destructive tendencies. So, how does it self destruct? I caught myself doing this. Is the voice in your head confirming your fears that you weren't loved, that you were being used, that you're not worthy, that whatever the fuck it is, you will have that thought and then it will take you down that rabbit hole and create that energy, that fear that you had as a kid. That's what you were alchemizing, is our trauma from our past. Maybe a past relationship. I don't know what your story is. And even you'll have like a picture or a memory. Remember when they said that? That confirms that they don't love you. Never did. You're being used. Blah, 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 blah. We go down this fucking, around and around we go. And you're just, that's the poison. Circulating in your veins. You are poisoning yourself. So these types of things, you only learn with, you have to have gone through it enough to be able to sit back and be like, okay, hold on. Because what I found myself doing when I was in pain from a relationship is just not to think about it. Don't think about it. It wasn't real. You know, like you just try to dismiss it. But those thoughts and feelings are there for a reason. It's trying to teach you something. So why be afraid of the lesson? I thought that going into a relationship, it's like I could see where this is going. Why do it? And then I was like, no, but what if there's this? It's rare for me to have a genuine attraction to somebody. So I was like, I know I have to be here. If this sucks, fucking, I guess I need it. So, and I've become more conscious and more aware because of it. Like, thank God. Wow. Like, that's actually what's happening. Who fucking knew? And seeing the stages of anima and animus development, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. This is what those feelings are. This is what. So I'll have the. I just figured it out last night, actually. As I was going to sleep, I was like, so it's my own anima. It's inside me. Jung talked to his anima. Me having a dream about a siren is me confronting my own anima. It's a fragment of my. It's an archetype in here. I was thinking people with split personalities and schizophrenia and shit, what they're doing is projecting an archetype into either the just fucking into the space or whatever the fuck. But it's something innately inside of us that we don't understand. And it's a psychological thing, which is of course spiritual. And if we just had knowledge of it, we all of a sudden the suffering goes away. Suffering goes away with understanding. It doesn't go away from pretending it didn't happen or brushing it under the rug or whatever the fuck else type of gaslighting bullshit you're doing. You have to go through. Life isn't about avoiding the storm. It's learning how to dance in the rain. So, realizing this, as I'm going to sleep, I'm like, okay, anima, I love you, bitch. Shut the fuck up now. Like, what do you need to hear? What is it? Stop fucking doing this. Because even if those thoughts and fears are right, these feelings aren't doing anybody any good. They ain't fucking helping me. So I'm trying to stop the feeling, and I can only do that when I logic out of it. I can't gaslight myself. I've come too far. Can't just, you know. There should be no fear. I have been through much worse shit than my own thoughts, for fuck's sake. There's no reason I can't handle this. So the thought will come. Do you remember when this was said? Do you remember? And I'll play a video in my head. Like, that confirms the fear. the thought, the worst case scenario, and then that becomes my reality, and then the world follows suit. Weird self-destructive shit. Weird. So I was doing that for a whole month, and I'm like trying to escape the feeling. Let me run from it. Let me fucking, because this is a feeling, when you're a child, you have fight, flight, and now they're saying freeze. Um, I wonder if some people fuck when they're scared. The fourth F. But you freeze, you disassociate, you develop fucking ADD. That's from trauma. Um, Instead of medicating ourselves, like I knew I had to get rid of every vice, and then, like Rumi said, when God has sent everyone else away, it's only you and Him. Like, you have to sit in the silence long enough to hear yourself scream. Your soul is talking to you constantly. Your emotions are your soul. That's where that's coming from. Even if you don't understand it, we think everything is beginning, ends in here, and it's just not the case. It's not the case. They're discovering now that your heart has memory. Like, people with heart transplants, they'll have the memories of the fucking last idiot. How how is that? What's going on? It's in your DNA, your memory. Like, your DNA stores information. So all of human history is in your DNA. So we're not just, like, some of the feelings and trauma we have probably predates us. I talked about they discovered in lab mice that trauma is passed on through DNA. They're saying up to 6 or 7 generations. Imagine what humanity's been through. What humanity's going through now. Imagine what it was. Fuck. That's all in us. So even if there isn't a problem, we feel like there has to be one, and we create one. Just our nature. And do you know what stops it? Consciousness, awareness. How do you spread that? There's no fucking campaign. There's no ad campaign for that shit. There's no one running for president talking about it. I don't want to talk about politics, but it's very interesting that you're given two choices, and in either case, you're sanctioning some form of death or murder. And you're like, no matter what, you're committing a spiritual crime. You're saying it's okay for whatever the fuck they're about to do in the next 4 years. I'm cool with it. Trust that person. Spiritually speaking, I'm not sure that's a good idea, friends. It's how to get away with it. It's a way to circumnavigate a rule of the universe, which is karma. You told me I could do it. You told me I could bomb that wedding. You didn't say I couldn't. Um, Anyways, it'll be interesting to see what the next 4 years are. What happens, I've noticed, is that whoever the fuck gets in, they create chaos the first couple years, and then once it's time to start talking about re-election, things start to shift. Like, forget about that first part. And then, like, right now, gas prices are good, and fucking stock market, it's all fucking artificial bullshit. Like, do you remember suffering this whole time? Do you remember when you were afraid you couldn't feed your family? Oh, you forgot? Weird. I'm doing fine. Do you? Goddamn. Fucking. I can't wait for the rapture or whatever. whatever's supposed to happen. I hope I make the cut. Hopefully my videos live on. Someone someone laughs and realizes what a genius I am at some point. Would I rather be known for being spiritual or funny? That's tough. Um, I should probably make these more funny if I wanted to show off my humor. Or wasn't the point. Um, I think that's everything I wanted to talk about. There's far more. It was 50-50 when I looked. Far more 50-50 content than I expected. I didn't think I had anything to journal about. But um, now that I know there's basically a demon in my head, a fucking siren, that wants to confirm every fear that I have. What I read was that when the Animor Animus talks and starts to promote self destructive thoughts or behaviors, you check with the self, like yourself, and come up with the opposite argument and re- check against reality, basically. Is that true? I also have this to show that I am loved, that I am worthy, that I am whatever whatever you're missing. So take that life hack with you. That was a good one. That was a good one. And what was the other thing that helped me? I mean, learning about the Anima Animus was like that stuff is in you. That stuff is your knowledge of that. Your higher self, your subconscious, whatever is. All of us are being pushed through these phases, whether you want to go or not. It's happening. You can't deny that. How the fuck is that? Everyone's in one of these stages and progressing. You don't. No one pops out at 5. I've had like, what the fuck? How is that? What's going on here? Spiritual school. I'm telling you, this place is a spiritual school or a video game of some sort. And you know I'm fucking good at those, so I'm gonna fucking win. I'm gonna beat this one. I wonder. I saw like a meme where someone ate one of those like silica packets. It says don't eat. Someone ate it and then woke up and like, you won the simulation. Whoa, send me back in. Um, yeah, I guess that's it. Um, I think that I will look back at this time very differently than how it feels going through it. Just like I look back at the times that I went through fucking hell, whether it's breakups or betrayals or business shit or whatever the fuck. I've dealt with all of those things. Um, the difference now is that I know everything happens for a reason. So without our understanding of the reason, there's a lot of panic. It's like you were thrown in the deep end and you don't know if you can swim. But I learned how to drive stick shift on my way to school. Like when you have to do it, you have to do it. Like this, like if we wait and take one step in, one step out, and fucking take our time, like it's fucking, you know. I think God knows when it's our time. It's our time to rest. It's our time to act. It's our time to self reflect. So rather than feel like a victim to circumstances or a, unwilling participant. It's like I know that this period of time where time has slowed down for me, that I was able to self reflect, that I was able to go inward, was necessary and still is, until I'm obligated to do more things, uh, or in a different flow. I imagine that I still have more to discover. Um, but like when you're playing poker, you don't go on every hand. Sometimes you got to wait for the game. Like I have 2-7. I'm not gonna play with this. Um, but sometimes you lose with pocket aces too. So, woo wait, you go where you know the universe is telling me to sit. I sat, and I feel a lot more at peace with my disposition, my thoughts, my intuition. My intuition is very sharp, and I think part of my problem is that when reality doesn't immediately confirm my intuition, my reality falls apart for me. But knowing human nature, observing people, pattern recognition, I'm able to more or less predict with a certain degree of certainty, um, where people will end up eventually, um, myself included, obviously. But I suppose it's letting go of that locus. You have no control. Surprise. The locus to control your perceived ability to control your environment or your. There's nothing. All you have control over is your psychological health, your thoughts. And if you can master that, this this world is a piece of cake. So pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to who's having them. If the thought comes from fear, check it. Whose thoughts are these? Who does it benefit? And if you're aware of this anima and animus thing, fuck. It's like, why am I here? This is a very interesting place. I tell you. I tell you what. It's an interesting place. Um, yeah. So I hope a video like this helps somebody. So I don't know why the fuck that one video of me just complaining is the most viewed video, but maybe someone will stumble upon this and learn something. You know, I shared I shared something, and of course I'm excited to see what happens in life to confirm or correct or add to my knowledge and my intuition, etc. And with that said, I wish you a good night, good fortune. I won't say go fuck yourself. Have a great whatever the fuck you're having. See ya.